and coping with panic. I have a green tea. No, it's not a green tea. It's peppermint tea here. So I encourage you to go and get yourself a cuppa and sit down in this quiet space. This is going to be a serene, safe, accepting space. And we're going to take 30 minutes from our day to foster community and talk about panic. I've just been for a walk with my lovely neighbour from several houses down, and I have gone through one of those stages where I haven't been exercising. So the walk killed me. Can you see my face? I look like I don't know, a bright orange something. If you've just joined us, we're going to have a 30-minute talk about panic. I encourage you, if you sit down with us, to stay the distance so that we can talk about the experience of panic, say hello, have a cuppa, and look at some outcome based strategies for panic. One of the responses that we sometimes fall into, appropriately or less appropriately, is when we experience panic, we talk about it to others, we vent, we share. And there can be uh, benefits to sharing, definitely. But one of the deleterious effects of sharing panic, talking about panic, is that our body doesn't know the difference between experiencing trauma and communicating the trauma. So we can re traumatize ourselves by talking about panic. The word panic doesn't really have an upside, does it? It's not a word that we can reinterpret in some positive light. It is a unpleasant experience. And there is that saying that when you're driving, don't look at the brick wall or you run into the brick wall. So by talking about panic, we can elicit some features of panic. That aside, there is a time and place that we sit down and be outcome based. Take the pebble or the leaf or the cloud. What I'm trying to do there is separate ourselves from the experience. Put it down and say, take the panic, put it down and say, I experienced panic. This is an experience I had. I am not panicked. I don't own my panic, but I have experienced panic. With these lives, I'm going to speak fairly slowly because one of the features of these lives is community and connection and calm. So I'm going to speak fairly slowly, which is polar opposites to what we're supposed to do on YouTube. On YouTube, you're supposed to stimulate, catch somebody's attention, have no gaps between the words. It's actually not calming. Oh my giddy aunt. Could somebody, one of you, let me know that you can hear me? See what I've done? One of you in the last sessions talked about missing my dear friend Emma. Is Emma. Hello, Emma. So I brought Emma back. She was out in the garden and she was getting quite dirty. So I brought her in and gave her a wash. Can you hear me? Can someone let me know that you can hear me? Okay. And somebody, oh, thank you, Jennifer. Oh, this is 3 days running, Jennifer. And yes, I'm attempting to make a habit of it, which I'm not quite sure how I'm going to execute tomorrow when I will be spending some time at my partner's work. If you've come into this space, I implore you to switch off any distractions, switch off the TV, put your phone on do not disturb. Thank you, Miss Heather. And let's be in this space. Sometimes particular topics revolving around well-being may be what we may call boring. They're not exciting, they're not stimulating, but it's like eating the Brussels sprouts on your plate. I attended this meditation series, 20 minutes a day for some time for months, run by a Melbourne group. It's online. I can share it with you if you want. It's very good. And meditation is not exciting, but I found when I stopped doing it, and you could see it was a Zoom, so you could see other people participating. It is one of those one percenters that cradle you and give you a sense of comfort. So let's remember to participate ritually, habitually in those one percenters. One percenter, peppermint tea, another one percenter, try and minimize or eradicate alcohol. One percenter, community. So this is a example of community. One percenter, have a look at if and when suits you, your grief, your loss. Looking at grief and loss, panic, anxiety depends on the person. They did research with which I've referred to several times in 9/11, where they found that talking about grief and anxiety works if the particular person wants to do it. So it's not a universal here. It's about whether it suits you. You may have experienced a situation of loss, which is awful. You may never talk about that. You may choose never to talk about it that, but you may address the behaviors, the responding behaviors. Those behaviors may be lack of sleep, overeating, undereating, drinking too much, shopping issues, late night internet shopping issues, addiction to porn, those sort of things. You may choose to address these. Only you know what suits you, and I encourage professional support. On that note, as you know, I've got a master's in counselling. I am a counsellor. You can see me face to face in South Australia or online. Simply go to Simply Book Me or go to my website, Lauren Ostrowski Fenton. Today, we're having a few minutes talk about panic. Before we start, let's just have a look at how you're seated. Perhaps you're lying down. Notice your pattern of breath. Notice how you hold your eyes, your jaw. Soften your jaw, soften your eyes. Relax, roll your shoulders back, broaden your chest, and just notice how you are. Notice your pattern of breathing. I'm not a big advocate of asking people to deeply breathe. Breathe deeply. I think that you breathe as suits you to breathe in this moment. Understand that breath is a gift and understand that breath is a reflection of your well-being. So if you're breathing fast, very gently, very lovingly, slow the breathing down. Panic. Panic is our body's reaction. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you saying that. I've been thinking about how to encourage a feeling of community, and collaboration. So these little lives, you've got a tiny bit of meditation, a tiny bit of cognitive behavioral therapy, a tiny bit of comfort, a tiny bit of connection. So it's a little bit of a pizza. Panic. The reason our bodies feel panic is our bodies are very clever. They're like a computer, and we have put a microchip in our body, teaching it to express panic. We have put that microchip in our body because we feel subconsciously it's necessary. So, something in our mindful self, the program has gone a little bit awry, and we feel the panic is necessary. We panic when we perceive a threat. The threat may be real or it may not be real, but our body can't tell the difference. So our body, the cortisol spikes, our blood pressure may increase or drop. We may have a number of health and well-being responses. We may feel bad feelings, negative feelings, sadness, terror, fear. We may have trouble breathing. Panic is like the rabbit stuck in front of the headlights, knowing that if the rabbit doesn't move, it'll be mowed down. But just it goes, oh my goodness, the car is coming, the lights are on. That's panic. Firstly, before I continue on how to manage panic, I'm here, I'm not with you. If you are experiencing panic, it's very important that you seek professional advice to help you because you are worth it. You are profoundly worth it. Always remember that. No matter what people say to you, no matter the behavior of others, you are profoundly worth it as a human soul. And terrible things happen to human souls that are not their fault, that are unfair and unreasonable. I'm a bit of an existentialist. I love the book by Albert Camus, The Plague. Existentialism is believing in the absurd, that sometimes irrational things happen to rational people, or good people are unlucky, or tragedy happens to uh, anybody. I do also believe that I'm Christian, and I do believe in the universe that we can attract certain things, but we don't know the path laid out to us. We don't know why we have experienced a certain experience. And sometimes we just get shit. We just get shitty experience, no matter how good we are at partnering or teaching or working or being somebody's sister or brother or parenting or being a child to a parent. No matter how good we are, sometimes life is just shit. One of the responses to shitty life can be panic. So, professional help, and then to recognize panic. See the features of panic as features rather than being stuck in it. We talked about diffusion, cognitive diffusion versus fusion. Fusion is when you become your problems. So, fusion may be I am anxious, I have anxiety, like this little handbag. Oh, here's my anxiety. I am anxious. Oh, you are not anxious. You do not have anxiety. You experience anxiety. You feel anxiety. You think anxious thoughts and you are able to think other thoughts, other feelings when suits you. I also have this disclaimer I've said before that if someone was to say to me when my father died, oh, you feel sad, you can feel other feelings, I would want to bop them on the head. Grief, anxiety, depression, features of these, that's your journey. And nobody can tell you or advocate how to walk that journey. You can get support, you can get advice, you can gain resources. It's your journey. And that's very unfortunate, but it is what it is. And there's nobody to rescue you. There is nobody to rescue me. But we can build a toolbox of support. So today we're looking at a toolbox of support. This peppermint tea is very good. So with panic, professional help, identifying that we are not our panic. We can recognize panic. So panic can be shortened breath, fast breath, hyperventilating breath. Panic attack can be feeling like you're not in your body, feeling like you're crazy, insane, struggling to speak, struggling to remember, brain fog, seizure of muscles, hand shaking, feet shaking, not being able to speak. feeling that you're weird in some way, feeling different, feeling a lack of belonging. There are muscle spasms, palpitations of breath. These are all features that may or may not occur with a panic attack or feeling panic. If we are able to do the Rumpelstiltskin, you know the story of Rumpelstiltskin. He had power until the victim knew his name. As soon as the victim says his name, Rumpelstiltskin loses his power. So the Rumpelstiltskin syndrome context. I feel panic. Name it. I feel panic. Take an object and name it. This is my panic. I'm going to put my panic over here. This is my panic. And then how does the panic make you feel? Say it, call it out. Now, I would probably use more expletives that I can use on a YouTube channel, so I'll use some. When I feel panic, I feel shit. I feel desperate. I feel lonely. I feel crazy. I think desperate thoughts. I feel it will never end. I feel hopeless. Like, call it out. Be assertive. Say how it feels. This is panic. Put the panic away. It's separate to you. It is not you. How does that make you feel? Really shitty, really bad. Then, so you say all the feelings. I usually use some comforting gesture. It might be this, just holding a cup. It might be wrapping a rug around me. It may be doing one yoga stretch. It may be this one. This is the butterfly one. This is a very good one. Doing one arm, then the other arm. I may do this and this or this. I have named the panic. I have talked about how terrible it makes me feel. I'm calling it out. I'm not being passive aggressive. I'm not denying it. Then I say, I can cope. Soft affirmations, not I feel panic. My life is full of abundance. The universe will bring the answer to me. It's a bit of a reach, isn't it? We want small steps. Here's my panic. You may or may not want to say what provoked the panic. Sometimes the trigger is so painful. Remember 9/11, we keep it away. So consider that. This is the panic. It is separate to us. We've talked about how we feel. Then we say, I can cope. I manage. I take one step at a time. I will be okay. I can cope. I can manage. I take one step at a time. I'm okay. So, what I've done there is I've created a soft affirmation. I haven't said, my life is full of abundance. Every single person loves me. Life is euphoric. It is a soft stepping away from that headspace. I made that one up. You may want to make up a different one. You may want to say something like um, something around compassion or something around kindness. You may want to use a soft fact. Now, the soft fact, this is a little bit tenuous. The soft fact has to be okay for you to say. I'm going to say this again. The soft fact needs to be okay for you to say. We know with trauma that sometimes it is the right thing to never address the trauma. And I am now going through a strategy with panic. Sometimes you can include in your management strategy calling it out. So you might say, my husband Bob of 35 years has been unfaithful and turned the kids against me. I will be okay. So it's a soft statement. That is optional. Yeah. Toxic positivity, the silver has brought up. Oh, no, just look at that. Yeah, I'm a big advocate, De Silva, of respecting the unique person. And not only in counseling, but all over YouTube, people talk about having answers, and we don't. We don't have answers. None of us knows how another person feels. If somebody's experienced trauma, sexual assault, or and trauma can be anything. So, what is traumatic for one may not be traumatic for another. What I do not have the right to do is decide how you experience your trauma. I like the soft affirmations because this idea that we can be rolling around on the floor after someone's unfaithful or the children leave home or whatever the issue is, and someone says, "Oh, cheer up," or they might say the other thing. I introduced one of my girlfriends to a male friend of mine, and she had a stroke. Her husband left her, and then her children left her, and she had this stroke, or two strokes actually. And he said he was one of those manifesting men, manifesting people, and he said, "What did you do in your life to invite that in?" And oh my giddy aunt, I still feel angry when I think of it. I just was so angry. How dare he assess her experience? It's see my personality. I get intense, and intensity, which is a sticky feeling. Uh, if you look at Hammer Shodra, and she talks about sticky feelings generally are not helpful. We need to try and look down on our feelings, which is not one of my strong points. So we're talking about soft affirmations, affirmations where we can step forward. So let's say you've put on a lot of weight that's not healthy because of a particular experience. The answer is not lose weight. The answer may be have fruit today. Or the answer may be make sure you have breakfast. Or the answer may be just be hydrated. Or whatever that is. Softly step forward, kindly step forward. Now, this may not always suit, but I think it's generally a strong strategy for panic. Name the panic, Rumpelstiltskin. Always remember professional support. Name the panic, name it. You may or may not want to talk about the trigger, your call. Then talk about the shitty feelings, the intensity, name it, keeping it away. Then soft affirmations. Now, often repetitive movements, actual physical movements can help. So, soft affirmations, peppermint tea, butterfly, soft affirmations, holding your own hand, imagining it's somebody else's hand, giving yourself a hug, rocking. I can cope. I can cope. Chanting, washing the dishes, possibly cleaning the house. Repetitive movements can comfort. Repetitive movements can comfort. Meditate without attachment. Just allow the meditation to be what it is. Just going to look at the time because I said I would spend 30 minutes with you. Do you have any questions at the moment about panic? It is so important to diffuse the panic. So I talk a lot about diffusion versus fusion. Fusion is becoming the panic. So fusion would be saying, I have a problem with panic. The diffused approach would be to say, I experience um, panic behaviors or anxious behaviors. I experience panic. So it's a behavior that you exhibit rather than something you own. There's something mindful, something emotional, something cognitive about saying, I am depressed. I am anxious. I'm not saying never say it. I'm not saying that. I don't believe in absolutes, but recognize the limitation of choosing to use words which fuse you with a term. We're so many things. human, being human is one of our features. Does that make sense, the labeling? Because I've been questioned by that before. Um, made a comment once, what we see is a reality. And somebody said, made a very strong negative comment saying, oops, just lost my headphones. Someone made a, hey, Shannon, a negative comment about, can you still hear me with my headphones fell out? Oh, made a negative comment about me saying that what we see is our reality. Because it sounds a little bit uh, esoteric, but we can alter our perception. Shannon, it's lovely to have you here. Lovely to have you here. We are drawing to a close, Shannon. So I thought I'd pick this time around the 11 o'clock to do my lives. And what I wanted to foster is connection, collaboration, calm, and cognitive therapy. There's some C's for you. There's a few C's. I think that there's such a space for connection. Reading to Silver. Yeah, I'm just reading Womet de Silva's comments. I'm okay, Medica. Yeah, it's I see your comments. I wish I could talk to you. It's R de Silva. You know that my father had dementia, Lewy body dementia. I looked after him full time, I think 2.5 years, and then I stayed in his care home for 8 days as he died. Um, there is something incredibly, I use the word terrifying, and I talk about using soft language. There is something uh, terrifying about somebody you love that's been a mentor and big part of your life dying and losing their mind. I found one of the childish things I did with my father was uh, as he was coming close to death, I kept wanting to be reassured he was okay. And that was so much about me. And I would say, do you have any joy in your life? And he would always say, so much joy. He would go in and out of being lucid. He was lucid a lot. And it was very interesting because he was a judge, but he would, dementia, Lewy body dementia. It's a type of dementia, Shannon. So dad had Lewy body dementia. So he would be seeing pieces of fluff in the air and he'd be picking them, or imaginary. And he would also think he was a 6-year-old and speak German and he thought he was trapped in a bunker because that was a traumatic experience he had. And then I remember I was um, reading a letter out aloud to dad, and it was a legal letter. And suddenly he became lucid and rewrote the letter for me. He said, go back 10 words. And he just went back into judge mode. So he went from picking fluff into judge mode. And I miss him so much, De Silva. I miss him so much. But I try to focus on what he taught me. Uh, I think if we say that we can find a complete upside from somebody's death, I think that's false. But we can find some joy in the celebration of death, some joy. I'm not a big one for polarizing, as you know. Hey, Heather. Heather, good to see you. Is it Jessie or is it Heather? Anyway, uh, much love. Yeah. I'm going to finish up in a minute. And it was lovely to be with you. So, to summarize, objectify the panic, take an apple or a flower or anything and see it as separate to yourself. Talk about the intense, Jessie, Heather, talk about the intense feelings, name them, assert them, Then softness with some sort of rhythmic movement, ritualization, self kindness, look at physical health, remember your one percenters. And always, I encourage therapy. You know, I have a special right through August, 30% off if you use the coupon code August, AUGUST in capitals, on Simply Book Me. I hope you have a lovely evening, an enjoyable day. I wish you, I wish you okayness in life. Oh, thank you so much, Shannon. That means a lot to me. Thank you. Give me some feedback. Thank you, thank you, about this uh, live because I'd like to continue them. So I would like them to be collaborative. If you wanted to continue, drop a comment. If you have ideas of how can continue, drop a comment. That way we will be truly collaborative and communal. I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much. Speak soon.